Hello, I'm Kinesia. I am a multidimensional being, and while I'm still learning what all of these dimensions really are existing within my being, I'm here to be in my fullness and express from that space. Now, I am here to share with you how I've been navigating through this Aries portal and Mercury retrograde this far. So, what does this even mean? What is Aries as a portal, as a sign, as a constellation? Aries is the initiate. It is ready to go past go, collect $200, use that money to invest in starting a business, invest in starting that passion project, invest in the ideas that maybe you were ruminating in during winter season as we were navigating through Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces portal. We are now in springtime, and just like spring, new ideas are supported, new ideas are blooming, and as long as you are ready to initiate yourself moving forward, you are supported during this portal. Now, how this portal has been showing up for me has been very interesting, and as I continue to learn more about myself by looking through my chart, by really understanding what the medicine is within my chart, I am here. So, Mercury right now is actually in the constellation of Aries, and Mercury rules Gemini as well as Virgo. But right now, we are actually experiencing Mars, the ruler of Aries, through the constellation of Gemini. So it's very interesting to see how these two planets, these two signs and constellations are essentially having their ruler be amplified through the opposite sign. Gemini rules the mind, it rules communication, okay? And then Aries rules the head. It is also the planet and the sign that wants to move you forward. So how this has been looking through my own chart with Mars in Gemini, over the last couple of weeks, I have really been feeling this urge to start using my voice to create a YouTube, to start sharing the messages and the wisdom and the knowledge that I have within. And here I am doing the thing that really does scare me. It is something that for years I have been hearing other people ask me to start a YouTube, to create a podcast, to, I don't know, do TikTok or whatever the case. I have completely blocked it out, hung up the phone. You know, I've had moments where every single time there is this call for me to use my voice and see that I need to express it to the highest capacity that is available to me, I sometimes will cry at the fact that this has been such a deep wound. The fear that I would feel in sharing my voice is sometimes because of the things that I was navigating through in my younger years. Now, I grew up with a mother who oftentimes would tell me I had an attitude, and when I was in school, I was not only defending myself as one of very few people who looked like me, I was also defending other people when they were in communication with a potential bully. I never liked that, so I would use my voice to make it stop. On top of that, I will also share that I have Chiron in my first house, which is the house ruler of Aries and Mars. And with Chiron in the first house, it really does have to do with who am I, what am I, whose am I, and really understanding what I came into this earth to be, to express, to enjoy, to live through. And with Chiron in tropical astrology is known as the wounded healer. And these wounds can relate to the things that we might have journeyed through in our younger years. And if we are actually able to pay attention to how those things show up in our life, we are able to potentially use that as a gift to help others. Now, with this being in my first house, but in the sign of Gemini, communication, the way that I speak has oftentimes triggered other people. oftentimes I am misunderstood, and while I'm being misunderstood, I'm oftentimes feeling that while I'm not being heard, there's a different narrative that has been playing out that I am to X, Y, and Z, and that it's not exactly what I am saying that is an issue, it is my tone that is the issue. And part of who I am is this tone. And I have a lot of shadow around that because I am super aware, or try to be super aware in my communication and how I am sharing messages. Now, for me, I am someone who is a truth seeker, and I am someone who really does want everyone else to be able to express themselves in their highest divine. I am someone who wants people to really be following on their path. And sometimes when I hear certain things, I am able to really see things on a grander scale, or at least receive the information and kind of, map out potentially questions to ask the other person to see how these things are really coming up for them. And what I'm recognizing is in the ways that I do speak, for some people it might feel like it is coming with a lot of heat, with a lot of, for me, I've learned it's passion, but for other people it might feel combative or defensive or challenging. And I've really recognized over the years that the things that I might say actually create triggers with other people. And I know deep down in my soul that I am not trying to trigger anyone or create any harm, but it is within the conviction of the things that I'm saying, the way that I articulate, that comes up with contraction. And it would create a space for me to just shut down, where I wouldn't use my voice, I wouldn't express the things that I want to express, because I know that what I have to say sometimes hurts. I honestly don't speak to anyone else different from the way that I speak to myself. And with Mercury actually ruling my entire chart, because Gemini is my rising sign, Mercury is constantly communicating with all of the other planets in my chart, and communication is super important. Now, if I'm thinking about, how Chiron has been playing a role where it is a wound, a childhood wounding, it is also my gifts, and really recognizing that who I am is my communication, it is the sound, it is my tone, it is the way that my vibration is received with other people. Now, there are total polar opposites of how my voice, for example, is experienced. There's some people that say my voice is super soothing, and then there's other people that say that I am speaking with a lot of fire. And what I have to recognize is where exactly in this line is it a projection? Is it actually mine to be holding? And oftentimes, it's not mine to actually hold. Now, the more that I understand and understand my birth chart, I recognize that, using my voice is part of the thing that I'm stepping into when we think about rising sign and ascendant sign as how other people actually see us. So other people have been seeing me in this space without me really understanding why. And it's not until now that I am giving myself permission to actually step into that path and journey and to see what comes of it. When I think about, clearing. When I think about how my Mercury is actually in the sign of Leo, Leo is how I express myself. Leo is sometimes also loud. And while it is never my intention to really be loud, there is a roar that comes through when I speak. Now, the polarity of how these things actually make sense is like, maybe when I'm being told I have an attitude, maybe that is actually me being misunderstood in my emotions. Maybe I'm not actually being heard. And I challenge you to, Aries, I challenge you to really pay attention to how this is being reflected in your conversations. I, for one, have really been recognizing how when it is a projection, it's not really for me to hold, and I can release that, knowing that I do not need to dim my light in order for the message that I have to share to be received with, I don't know, a gentler tone. I can't change my voice. I was gifted with this voice just like everybody else is gifted with their voice. And it's really, during this time, important for us to be paying attention to where we are having this head-to-head type of compassion or passion. During this time, the call to action or the thing that I invite you to do is really paying attention to where there is conflict happening in your conversations, because we have a lot of thick energy between these two planets and constellations, and not that they are creating any of this for us, it's just that where their planet rulers are being expressed in each other's sign. So with that, there might be a lot of fire, but there's also this opportunity to really think about what stories are we being told. Can I still continue to exist with this concept that my language is too harsh? I wouldn't be here right now, right? And it is up to me to change that narrative, to recognize that I might trigger people and I'm not speaking to create harm. So can I actually be heard deeper? Can I actually be heard on a soul level, Since the beginning of Aries season, which I believe was on Friday, this energy has come in hot and heavy. I woke up to a pretty nasty message, and what I recognize is really everyone is on their own journey, and I am not here to create disillusion. I am not here to sugarcoat, beat around the bush, and when it comes down to it, I am who I am. My expression, my tone, my voice, my frequency, it is what it is, and yes, I could absolutely pay even more attention to the way that I show up and express in a space and express with friends. Oftentimes I like to ask, do I have permission to actually reflect back to you what I am hearing? And if I have the go ahead, I will share. But that also comes with the other person essentially consenting to the things that I might share might not actually be what they want to hear. And I have to be okay with that, because my intention is to speak with truth. My intention is to be honest with people, and I love when people are being honest with me. Okay, so let's talk a bit about Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde, when any planet is retrograde, it actually means that it is returning back to God. And while the collective narratives around retrogrades is chaos, and pay attention to this and don't sign that, and all of these other ways that they are projecting essentially fear, there's an opportunity for you to actually tune into the true tones of these planets and ask for the benevolence and ask for their support. And while some of these things absolutely may be true, it is also super important to pay attention to your own frequency, see what it is that you are actually experiencing, and tune in, because all of the ways that we might want to blame the exterior for what we are experiencing in our outer world is also showing us what's happening in our inner world. Furthermore, what is super interesting is right now I have not much clue what's going on with my current frequency, but I realized that when something like this came up in the past, I was just beginning my healing journey. I was in the To Be Magnetic Lacey Phillips, listening to the podcast, doing the work, the journaling, the manifestation, meditations, and there was a point in time where my frequency, I think, was shifting and it was rising. And I don't say that to put myself on any pedestal. It's just I am doing as much work as I possibly can in order to, have more self-development. And it is really an internal journey. Now, the last time that this has really happened where there's been this kind of shift is when I was in Bali. I had my phone and wallet stolen right from under my arm. I then had my headphones that were going in disarray, and then it was my computer that started to malfunction and push forward to this time. I have really been doing my best to raise my frequency. I am ready to initiate and start these new projects. I have started some new projects, and while all things are fun and dandy, really stepping out of my own box, my computer battery, I think this time it has fried, okay? And while I could absolutely and immediately blame Mercury Retrograde, I am taking responsibility in my own energy, my own frequency, and how, for example, my computer battery has been on and off for almost the last year. And I'm in a country where it's not so easy to get a battery delivered, as well as the keyboard, because it's a Mac computer, so things need to, be done in order for me to get this thing fixed. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just expressing at this point in time what is really navigating with me, through me, during this time is the way that this resource that I use in order to make a living through graphic design, through photography, it's like, now it's not working. So who am I without these devices? Who am I? What is my value? What are the things that I can be doing outside of sitting at a computer pushing pixels all day? Now, I'm here. It was almost like this energy was trying to literally push me forward into starting this video. So I have been really witnessing that with as much grace as I can have, where, I'm also frustrated because just as I'm ready to actually start all of these things, this type of thing happens, and it's like, can the obstacles slow down, shift, do something else, whatever the case? Can I have a different narrative? And sometimes it feels like I really have to work hard in this lifetime, and I don't actually want to believe that. I actually don't believe it, and it actually frustrates me a lot, but I won't get into that right now. I'm just here. I'm doing the best that I can. I am not perfect, and I will never claim that I am perfect, but I'm also perfect in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the universe, in the eyes of my spirit team and guardians. It's like, they do not judge us, so who am I to even judge myself? Who am I to judge the tone in which I speak? Who am I to judge anything? That is part of the things that I am doing my best to heal. And when it comes down to it, we're all just learning. We're all just navigating through different parts of our life. And the medicine here is to really pay attention to what that is. For me, that is starting a YouTube channel, bringing this, even my Aries, I believe, is in the 10th and the 11th house. So it's like, how am I actually using my voice? How am I initiating myself in business? And how am I bringing that forth within community? And so far, this is what I am feeling into, and I'm ready to continue on this journey and share authentically what it is that I am feeling. And if it resonates with you, I would love for you to subscribe. Don't subscribe if you don't feel called to. This is a choose your own adventure space. I do not demand anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, but I'm here. I am here. I am here. And the more that I allow myself to express freely, the more I give myself an opportunity to love myself, to recognize, Kinesia, while sometimes you are misunderstood, your intention is good. Sometimes when you are misunderstood in where you stand with people, it's okay. I love me. I love me for who I am. I love me for who I chose to navigate through within my karma. I'm loving myself for choosing the perfect blueprint, and that is not for anybody else to really project onto me. My invitation to you is really pay attention to the ways that you have been communicating with friends, with families, with strangers. Pay witness to your emotional state, the emotional state of others. Really have this intelligence to know that whether you are speaking with a certain tone, whether you are speaking with conviction, whether you are speaking from an emotional state, really pay attention to what is being asked of you. Is this really yours? Pay attention to your mental space. Are there stories that are potentially holding you back from you being able to initiate yourself in moving forward? Can these stories actually be released? Can the thoughts be released? Are they actually yours, or are they projections? Are they things that other people have told you so many times that you have now attuned to that language or that story? Really tune into letting things go, moving forward, giving yourself grace. Really love the one who is experiencing all of the things. Have compassion. Have compassion for even recognizing, like, wow, you calling out my tone is really creating discomfort within me, but I also love myself to recognize that discomfort, to recognize that there's an opportunity for me to move through it, to do something different, or not do anything different because you're standing in your ground even when you're being misunderstood. Whatever the case, that is up for you. I am not here to tell you what that actually means, but there is opportunity for something to be healed. And while I do not consent to constantly being on the healing loop, there really is opportunity in every meeting, every minute, every second to really look at what is happening within. Trust yourself, trust your word, your mission, speak with intention. And with that, I thank you so much. If any of this video resonated with you, I would love to hear it in the comments. If you are ready to receive a Golden Age Leadership astrology reading, please do hit the link in the caption. I am looking forward to meeting you. I am looking forward to journeying with you and helping you see your fullest expression. And thank you for listening to this video.